Morning, everyone. I have 3 thoughts for you today. The Apple Vision Pro, escaping reality and living reality. So a few weeks ago, Apple released its revolutionary Vision Pro. It's a headset that you wear over your eyes and it gets strapped to the back of your head. And it's what's called a spatial computer, meaning you can bring your digital apps from your own devices and they are presented right in front of you as you are looking into the landscape in front of you. So for instance, if I were to be wearing one right now, it would look weird on me, but I would be able to see all of you as you are. However, I would be able to put all of my phone apps right in front of me, be able to choose one. And for instance, I could create a scene of being on the beach. And I would have a beach scene with beach music and sounds in the background, so I wouldn't have to look at you. So, not that I don't want to. So the device follows your eyes as your eyes look at the different parts on the screen. It follows your hands so that you can zoom in and out with your fingers, and it follows your voice. So you can dictate basically whatever you want. And since it's a whole surround view, you're able to see a whole movie and feel like you're part of it. So this could be all yours for $3,500. Anybody want one? Okay. So I was on the tour of this, just in an online demo of it. And the scene that they presented you with is they put you on top of a mountain. So I could be typing at my computer, and wearing this thing, all I would see is overlooking the Himalayan mountains. And that's where I could be. Top of the mountain. Sounds like a very good escape from reality for me. Now, I use this visual because it's highly reminiscent, I think, of today's gospel, which is a visual of an escape from reality. We're on the top of the mountain with Jesus, and it says he is transfigured before us. His clothes become dazzling white. Light is shining out from him. We have Moses and Elijah, the 2 pillars of the Old Testament, on either side of Jesus. And then a booming voice from heaven that says, "This is my beloved Son, listen to him." Now Jesus, he's in his glorified state, meaning what he's going to look like after he rises from the dead. Now, what would be your reaction to that if you were up on the mountain with Jesus? Probably a similar reaction to having this Apple Vision Pro on your face and being on the top of a mountain. You would say, "This is great. Let's stay here. I don't want to leave here." Which is basically what the Apostle Peter said. "It is good, Lord, that we are here," Peter says. "Let's make 3 tents for you, Moses and Elijah." The word tent in the Bible always goes back to the Greek word tabernacle, which means where the presence of God is. Hence, our golden tabernacle right in the middle of the sanctuary to show this is where God is. So Peter is basically saying, let's keep this spiritual high going. Let's set up shop here. Let's stay on the mountain because it's so much better than going back down to the mountain to the grind of everyday life. Let's continue this escape from reality. Peter, of course, is thinking no differently than you and I. Because in your life and in mine, what do we have? Every day you wake up at the same time, go to work or school at the same time, come back home, do the same things, make dinner for your kids, go to the same practices. There's a lot of monotony. There can be a lot of dullness. There can be a lot of boredom. And our common response is escape it, get rid of the monotony, and add some excitement to your life. And everybody has their own ways of escaping. For some people, they may have rather unhealthy ways of escaping by resorting to drugs or alcohol. So in the US, we are 5% of the world's population, and we consume 80% of the world's opioids, to give you an idea. We don't want to deal with our pain completely and with our boredom and reality, and so we either take something to get a high or to dull the pain and put us on the top of the mountain. Some people escape from reality by sticking in their AirPods and listening to music all day. I can see the parents are turning to their teenage kids. Or we play video games all day. Or we turn on the TV and watch Netflix. Are there any kids who still go out and play in the dirt anymore? So, we stay inside and we escape from reality, from the real world, and entertain ourselves. This is how most of our younger generations are formed today. Some of us, we might have rather healthy ways of escaping stress and boredom. I like going on bike rides when it's a nice day outside. Get rid of the monotony of everyday life. Do some exercise. That can be a healthy way. For some of us, a way of escaping from reality is going on vacation or a trip. The U.S. is the largest consumer of tourism in the world. We like to get away, and there's good reason for that. There's a lot of stress, and so sometimes we need much needed rest and relaxation. But with all these things, a problem can come in when we want to stay perpetually in escape mode. Because all of these ways of escaping reality reinforce the notion that I will find peace and happiness by escaping, by putting on the Apple Vision Pro, by sticking in the AirPods, by grabbing those pills, by taking that drink, by going on that vacation. Only then will I have peace and joy. But as much as we want to stay on the top of the mountain, as much as we want to not have to deal with our issues, and as much as we prefer to be aloof from our problems, you got to come down from the mountain at some point. So in today's gospel, immediately after Jesus is transfigured, they're coming down from the mountain back to reality. And Jesus tells his disciples head on, I have to go to Jerusalem to suffer and die. Something they do not want to hear. They want to stay on the top of the mountain. But he has to get back down to reality. Go preach to the towns. Go heal the sick. Go cast out demons. He has a mission to carry out. And the same goes with us. We all live in a world called reality. We can't stay on the top of the mountain forever. You can't stay on vacation forever as much as you want to. You can't watch TV forever. We can't keep the Apple Vision Pro on our head forever. There's a thing called reality that we have to return to. The reality of your job, of your family, of your school life, of your retired life, of your boring life. All of us, to some extent, lead pretty boring lives. There's repetition, there's monotony, and there's the ordinary. But here's the thing. God likes boredom. God likes monotony. God likes the very ordinary thing called everyday life. Because it's through that that we can encounter God, and it's through that that we can glorify God. You can find God on the top of the mountain, overlooking the most beautiful view on earth. But it's just temporary. At some point, you got to come down from the mountain and find God in reality. And what is the reality? So what are we going to commemorate in just a few weeks at the end of Lent? Jesus says he is going to Calvary and he will die on that cross. There's nothing more real than that. There's nothing more palpable than that. And there's nothing more escapable than that. Life is all about experiencing the cross, something you and I do not like to hear. So many of us, so many people who have maybe turned their backs on God or faith in general, said, why doesn't God take away all the problems in my life? Why doesn't God hand my life on a silver platter in front of me? Why did God let me stub my toe this morning? Why does God let these little bad things and big bad things happen to me? Jesus says in John 16, in the world you will have trouble. Not in this world you will have everything put right in front of you. In this world, everything is going to go your way. In this world, you're going to encounter peace and happiness in everything you do. No, he says, in this world you will have trouble. But take courage. I have conquered the world. Jesus has conquered the world. He's conquered all the problems in life by doing that for us. And so now, because of that, he's in charge, and you can find God in the very reality of your everyday life. You can find God when you're doing the dishes. You can find God when you're driving your kids to school. You can find God when you're walking from class to class at school. You can find God when you're outside doing yard work. And you can find God even in the rough patches of life. So right now we're in the midst of some transitions in the parish. Lots of irons are in the fire, lots of things up in the air. For me, sometimes it can be lots of headache. And so what's my common response when things aren't going so well? My response is, I want to get out of here. I want to be like these kids who go off to Children's Liturgy of the Word and can get away from everything. I want to escape. That's the common temptation for me. And for those of you who also may lead business or whatever in your families, I want to escape. But here's the thing. I have to remember that even in the most difficult times, that's precisely where God is found, because God is found in the reality of the cross. And that's what our Christian faith is all about. This faith is not about escaping reality or having some secret knowledge to attain, or about hearing this booming voice from God speaking directly to you. That's not what our faith is about. It's about living in the presence of God here and now, not in the past, not in the future. It's about living here and now in the presence of God in the ordinary, dull moments of your boring life. That's where God is found. Because being holy means letting the light of Christ radiate into the interior of your heart. And that's the most real you can be. So what do we do about this? How do we live in the presence of God? Well, a lifestyle of living in the presence of God is precisely that. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle of continuous worship. Not just when you're on the top of the mountain, not just for an hour on Sunday, but every day. Maybe for some of you, coming to church is like being on the top of the mountain. Maybe this is where you find God. You find peace and joy here. And you should, ideally. But what about the next 167 hours this week before you come back next Sunday? What about all that time? Is God going to be present there for you? God is to be found in the ordinary, the mundane, and the boredom. God is present in the self-sacrifice of your parenting. He's present in the solitude of your old age, and he's present in the anxiety of your youth. And he's especially present in your suffering. That's where you find God. So back to the Apple Vision Pro. Do you want to go out and get one and you have the money for it? Be my guest. If it makes your life easier and more entertaining, there's nothing wrong with that. Let's just remember that joy and peace are not to be found in escaping from reality, but in living right in the middle of reality and inviting God to enter in. Amen.